All right, everybody, and welcome to the 9 Years podcast, episode 382, I think. I haven't checked that. I hope I've got that right. If not, you'll know by now, because the number will be wrong when you see it pop up on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, however you are listening this evening, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you are listening to us. You might even be listening to us through 9yruspodcast.org. However you are doing so, thank you very much for putting up with me, Nick Draper, and the face of the BBC Sport website, Mr. Stuart Deakins, for another episode as we talk through a miserable FA Cup exit at the hands of Conference. Don't give me any of this National League nonsense. GM Vauxhall Conference side, Gateshead. We'll look ahead to the trip to Peterborough United on the weekend. Richard Osman-Foyo's House of Games continues. It hasn't been suspended. Richard Osman, I actually think his name in real life is Richard Osman-Foyo. Osman-Foyo, I think he might be returning to action very shortly. We might come on to that in a little while. We'll look around the rest of the FA Cup news as well. We've got some bits and pieces around the club to talk about too. But Stu, 2-0 defeat, FA Cup first round, fourth consecutive FA Cup defeat to a GM Vauxhall Conference side. Yeah, goals in either half. Poor performance, really, wasn't it? To be blunt and to be succinct, that was it. Johnny Jackson said to the BBC afterwards, the question was put to him, did your players just think they had to turn up to win? And Johnny Jackson agreed.
Yeah. Joe, what? I was saying to you before we started recording, I'm going to stop now asking for the worst team or the lowest placed team possible at home in the FA Cup, because ultimately, I didn't realise our record was so bad until I think Aaron Paul mentioned it on one of the Twitter or something about we'd lost, the last 6 years, 5 of them have been out to GM Vauxhall Conference teams or something like that.
Is it Arash who put it on Nazi Twitter?
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been
6 out of 7. 6 out of the last 7 against conference teams that we've lost, and the one we won must have been Halifax.
Yeah, Halifax was 3-1. That was the West Ham 4-2 season, wasn't it? We went out to Mill, I believe. So, hey, look, you've got to go out of the cup at some point. There's no denying that. It's just frustrating. It's from a lower placed team. But I don't know about you. I felt the whole atmosphere on Saturday it just felt like cup upset fever. Obviously I get there early and sort of media. We had hardly any media there at all. There wasn't really much interest for it, and it just felt flat. Like generally before the game, it just felt like going through the motions for fans as well as players. It just felt that way, and that's how it turned out. A low crowd. We laugh at low crowd. It was still 5,000, but they didn't really get going until probably 2-0 down, and then we really went for it. But yeah, this is how cup upsets happen, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You get a team overperforming, a team underperforming, and then there was a much sometimes in it, and goals win games. But to be fair, we could have. The disappointment for me was that it felt very similar to the week before, where we huffed and puffed against Burton. Never really made the goalkeeper do anything, never really put any sustained pressure. And we've allowed probably Burton and Gateshead to see out games very, very comfortably, which, hey, look, you can't win all the games, but if someone's going to come to your place and turn you over, you at least want to make them work for it and put them under some pressure, and we just haven't done that.
You think Gateshead approached the game by focusing on us and how to play against us in terms of where they wanted to press, where they wanted to harry us, the starting lineup that they've selected in a bid to sort of stop us from dominating the game and then counts on the counter-attack. They had very much a game plan in place for us, where it felt like we were too concentrated on ourselves. We were looking at changes to the starting 11. We were thinking perhaps of an opportunity to get game time into certain players, such as Sasu, Orsi, Joe Lewis straight back in, not just gently put in for 20 minutes at the end. He played the whole 90. Do you think that our focus not only from the players, but also the management was just not quite right for this one.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised Joe Lewis came straight back in. I thought if he was available, he would. I think he's just that's the player he is for us. I think I was surprised that we decided not to play the Simway, Brown, Hippolyte. That really surprised me because ultimately we know that financially these are massive games for us.
Yeah.
They one, they can set momentum up, and two, they can set money up. So I was really surprised that I thought, I won't say lack of respect, but well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe we treated it that way. You know, yes, utilise your squad, but it's not as if now. It's not as if we're playing Tuesday, Saturday at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
The FA Cup no longer has replays, so that's the side of it. We've got the last game of the virtual trophy against Bromley on Tuesday coming up. Then we have a free weekend. When we knew before Saturday that we had a free international weekend, so it didn't feel to me there was a reason to rest players or manage game time. And then some players are good at coming on subs, some are not.
Yeah.
Omar going off. Yeah, we lost all that sort of aggression, but Omar was off it. To be fair, most of the players were off it. I couldn't really. It would be unfair to single anyone out who was off it because I felt like most of them were.
On that score, what did you make of the two subs at half time? So we gave Oggs a bit of a break. You can argue that Oggs probably did need a break, to be fair, of anyone in the team, or perhaps Seddon as well. But Seddon played very well, and Oggs played well when he came on. But yeah, the double sub at half time, Oggs coming on for Riley Harbottle, Omar comes off at half time for Orsi. Were they purely tactical things? Were they displeasure, and he had to pick? Was he trying to make a statement about taking two players off and saying that's not good enough? And you were the two, Harbottle and Omar, that were he felt most at fault.
The thing is, the way we play, I just don't get I don't get when you bring Omar off, and nothing against Danny Orsi, but I just feel
doesn't work, does it?
Doesn't work. And the Hackford didn't work either. It's something I've been thinking about a little while. I don't know if he's a starter. I don't know. People, and look, it's easy to be critical when someone doesn't play well, and Hackford has played well this season, but didn't really get involved. Does he play well up against centre halves? Does he need to sometimes go wide? Do we need to give him a bit more of a free role, playing at 10 or something? But it wasn't really working. But then I didn't see Omar coming off. You then lose your aerial threat. There wasn't much in the first half, admittedly, but once you start going for it, Omar then becomes a problem. But yeah, the subs, again, Ogundeer coming on. Why are we not starting? I think we made 5 changes, didn't we? I just felt we should have gone strong. That's that team has got us into where we are this season. And we just, if you were the Gateshead manager, you would probably looked and gone, 5 changes. They're not really, and they were big changes, I felt. Yeah, and then obviously making, subs coming off, Hackford coming off a bit later, Maycott coming off a bit later, Smith coming off as well. Interesting one, that. But yeah, hey, look, I just don't think it was a great day. And Joe Jackson wasn't a happy person after the game. Never is when we lose, but I think he's got food for thought now with 2 defeats on the spin. It's not a crisis by any stretch because we've probably overperformed. So I'm not getting upset about the defeat. Those happens. The performance concerns me. I've always felt when we lost against Cardiff and stuff like that, I've always felt the performance was there. Didn't think it was, and that was a worry on Saturday, especially now going in. We'll get a chat about Peterborough, but they had a good win against Cardiff. New manager bounce. It's a worry now going into Saturday because we don't want to get 3 on a bounce and so forth because these runs, unfortunately, start mounting up, don't they?
Yeah, it's a point that I think it was Steve Seddon. I have to look back to double check, but in the Burton Albion programme interview with him, I'm sure it was Seddon. And it's even in big letters within that article, we have overperformed or we are overperforming, which is true. And I think I'm going to sort of elaborate on that a little bit now, but it's not something you really want to see one of your players saying in a programme. It's like, just don't say that. Just say we're doing really, really well. We had a fantastic start to the season. Don't say we're overperforming because that gives, obviously, the interpretation there is that we're doing better than we actually are. And we're not as good as the league position suggests. Having said that, as fans, I think we can say that. And yes, you're right about, Luton performance, Cardiff performance, games we lost, and Bradford away, where we thought, well, actually, we deserve something from those games. But then what we don't do is we don't look at a Wickham at home or a Plymouth away, or I'm trying to think of the other one at home we had, even Port Vale at home when we got a point, and say, do you know what? Did we actually deserve to win those games by the end of it? And you'd probably say on the balance of play and the performances, arguably not. Ties in with the thing you say there about making goalkeepers work. And we've said this in the last few weeks. We don't make opposition goalkeepers work. Against Burton, and there's a penalty. Scrap the penalty, that happens. It was an awful penalty. But it wasn't a big save that he had to make from the penalty. It was a poor penalty. Saturday, the two saves I can think he made, comfortable. The saves you'd expect. The Seddon header, tipped over.
Yeah.
Not really much to do there. There wasn't actually anything else. There was a couple of P rollers that were straight at him. Nothing that worried him at all. So yeah, we do need to think. But saying that, Stu, we always have to then forget also that we went into this season thinking we were going to get relegated or we were going to be bottom 5, 6 the whole season. So this shouldn't be unexpected to us. It's just because we almost had that overperformance in results at the start that's when it starts to look worse when results do go against you. Results and performances go.
Yeah, the overperformance thing is a worry. You can say we're performing well. That's probably a better way of putting it.
Yes.
It's really because obviously the Plymouth one, I thought we played well at Plymouth, which is before we then went at home to Burn. I thought Plymouth played really well, but then you look at it and think, how bad are Plymouth? They've gone out in the cup.
Yeah.
Cleverly must be under serious heat.
Yeah.
Unless they can't afford to sack him. But he knows about, he's a Watford person, isn't he? So he understands the idea of sack. He's probably amazed he's still there.
Yeah, he thinks it's 6 weeks and you're out.
Yeah. So it's, going to Burn. Yeah, I think we're starting to see probably where the squad is a little short, and we knew that was going to be the case. We knew that, I think we're short in numbers in midfield. I don't think we have an Omar type replacement.
No.
Bringing Orsi in does look at the moment a little bit of a, did we need another Orsi type or did we need an Omar? Because I sat there on Saturday thinking, how long is it going to be before we move Sasu into centre forward? Because I felt it was the only height we had, but we kept him out wide. They sort of worked him out in the end. But once we took Omar off, I felt the threat had gone because you weren't. If you looked at that last sort of half an hour when Hippolyte and Marcus Brown come on, Marcus Brown is trying to pick holes in the midfield. He's trying to work something, but they've got no intention of coming out.
Yeah,
no intention.
Exactly. Yeah. So
it is sometimes when we do have to go a bit more direct. It should be something we're frightened of doing. Because we do play, we do play some nice possession football. That's fine, but it's too pretty when you're not making people do work. So yeah, we just got to be careful. I didn't realise about that program article. I'd be true if I don't read the program.
Shocking!
It just
exclusive on the 9 Years podcast.
I think it's just for me, programs are just. I just don't. Like I said to you in the social media age and stuff and electronic stuff, it's just it just doesn't really. I don't really feel I find anything out from the program that I don't know, and normally the interview is repeated at some point.
Yeah.
Later in the month and stuff like that. But yeah, overperforming, yes, but we need to be very careful now that we don't go into a nosedive because it's so easy for these runs to mount up before you know it. So we've just got to be careful, but not going to panic. Just hoping that performance levels increase. But we're starting to see the squad now as it is. It's low in depth.
Yes,
for quality.
Don't panic, Mr. Mannering, Captain Mannering. Do you know what? That's a quote that a generation is lost on a generation now because it's so old now. Don't panic. But you're right. We shouldn't be panicking, but we should have concerns. I don't want to, in the same way as I sort of referenced earlier, that perhaps we were too focused on ourselves and not enough on the opposition. We have started off looking, as you'd expect us to, on Wimbledon, because I do want to come on to the things that Gateshead did well. And one of the things you mentioned there was height. And in the last, I don't know how long, 5-10 minutes, Joe Lewis became an emergency centre forward. Our formation basically became like 2-3-5, we're just chucking everyone in. But you're right, Gateshead were quite happy, especially in that last 20 minutes or whatever, once they were 2-0 up, they were quite happy to let us have the ball quite deep areas and let us cross the ball in the box because they were like, we're going to deal with this. We're going to deal with it every time. And I was impressed by one of their centre halves, especially Bakary, number 15. Thought, I thought he had a good game. He's randomly on loan at Gateshead from Cheltenham, which is a very random loan between a League Two and a conference team. 23 years old.
Yeah.
Strange one.
Yeah.
But you're right. If we'd have had perhaps an Omar replacement, then he might have given him more trouble. You have in battles with centre halves that are strong and good in the air and whatever. You only need to be lucky once, though. And we saw that with the goal we conceded. Nouble got the better of Joe Lewis. It might have been the only time. Well, the first half, Joe had a couple of moments, but generally, he didn't really do. Nouble didn't really do much as that sort of role, as that sort of big man at top. But he won that battle, and then plays the pass, and they're in on goal, and the guy takes it well.
Yeah, and I think it's look, if you score the opening goal, once if you got a lead to hold on to, you can be a bit more. But you know what, we're going to do 2 banks of 4, and you're going to have to do something special to get around the side. So it is hard to break teams down, but it's even harder when you take off people like Omar. And there was nothing to suggest he had an injury or anything like that.
No.
So yeah, but we just don't have any height. I would love to have a battering ram just to come off.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we talked about Osman Foyer. He is now back from suspension. So I think I heard on Saturday he had 2 days to see out. So he would have been back Monday, Tuesday. It is quite funny because I don't know if you remember with Ivan Toney when he got his, was it like 9-month suspension? Yeah. He actually wasn't allowed to train with Brentford. And that's the same case with Foyer. He actually wasn't allowed to train with the team. Which makes me chuckle. You're suspending them from their livelihood, and you're also saying actually, well, you can't train with them. So actually, when you are available, you've probably got another couple of weeks to even get back to any sharpness or anything like that. But I think we've obviously forgot about him because things were going on since pre-season. But he is a useful asset. And pre-season, yes, I know it's only pre-season, but he looked a handful. He's getting stronger, he's getting bigger, he's still very young. So hopefully that will give us an extra body in attack. Obviously, Matty Stevens, we don't really know how long he's out for, which is a worry. It makes us wonder it's going to be. I think he's probably going to be a Santa this year for the Christmas club, because I think he's going to be probably spending more time with Pilgate jumping on his knee than he is getting on the football pitch. Yeah, look, it is what it is. No panicking, but we just need to stop the rot and just perform a bit better than how we were in the season.
My other concern, last one, talked about substitutions at half time, but despite that, we are starting the second half again so poorly. We started the game poorly, we know this. Lacked intensity, lacked tempo, all the things that Gateshead had, we didn't have. We were a yard off it, at least, from them. And then again, after a poor performance, you're 1-0 down, you want to come out second half, double substitution, get momentum behind you. Rubbish. And we're 2-0 down within 5 minutes.
Don't do it. But you know what? I'm a strong believer that the fans can. You always say that the team should be the one that motivate the fans. But I think it goes two-way. I think it's a two-way street sometimes. And like I said to you, I think the fans really got behind the team at probably 1-0 stroke 2-0. But I do wonder whether it's a little bit too nice. Like, do we need to look at how we... So I always say to you, remember like when we used to play like Hey Jude and all the sort of like catchy sort of anthem songs to get, especially for big games. But it's not that I want to copy the Premier League or the Championship, but like if you look at Premier League now, every game is a build-up, isn't it? It's a crescendo, isn't it, to when that team comes out. So the fans are already up for it, and I'm not saying that we need all the doing fireworks and all that shit. Do you know what I mean? All the laser displays and stuff. But I just wonder whether we don't do enough as a club to get the fans. I know most of them are still in the fan zone and stuff like that, so difficult, but maybe as fans, we've got to think about or as a club, how can we help the team come out and play? It's not always down to the manager to do that motivational speech. And I'm sure I'm sure Johnny Jackson is thinking about how do I get my team to start quicker, because you're right, it is becoming a little bit of an issue.
A couple of the other Gateshead players that impressed me, I think it was Curtis Edwards, number 22. Thought he was probably man of the match, to be honest with you, in midfield. Thought he was
Yep.
excellent. Looked a really, really good player. Alongside him, Home at number 17. I thought he had a really good game, really good energy, got around, closed us down. Excellent. And their second goal, we know everyone was quite impressed with their first goal scorer, Kane Adam. I'm not actually sure by the end of it, across the 90 minutes, how great he was. But he scored the goal, and then it was his shot that Nathan Bishop saved that led to the second goal. So in that sense, he did have a good game. He had clearly had a lot of pace on him, and he did take the goal well. To be fair, Fenton John scored their second goal, and I just think it's unfortunate that they've registered him with his first name as his surname and his surname as his first name, which is really unlucky because now everyone's going to refer to him as Fenton John when quite clearly, obviously, his name is John Fenton. Because why would it not be? It's just silliness.
You know what I think it showed as well is there was quality through the levels. You know, the conference isn't a lot of them are full time. There is good players down at Liverpool, and you know all you got to do is have a team that are up for it, a team that are thinking we've got a division, team 2 divisions below us, and you get that. So I think there was some people around me who were like thinking, "How rubbish are we?" But it's not really that case. If your levels drop, you can get turned over. So, but equally, you can balance that out by seeing it. Gateshead went to York on Wednesday night and got turned over 4-0. So again, it shows you, teams can be up for it. But the reason why probably players at League One are at League One is because consistently they are better rather than one-off games and stuff like that. But it makes no difference. York beating them 4-0 because we're out of the cup. And yeah. Does that mean we have another free weekend, I'm guessing? Because the second round is normally no fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah, so 6th of December that weekend, we have no game. We could have rescheduled our game with Stockport County had they not progressed, and they did away at Tranmere in the first round. So no opportunity there, unfortunately. But yeah, it's quite funny to see Gateshead get thumped in the week. You could say after the Lord Mayor's show, but their manager, Alan Armstrong, said after our game he'd been able to rest a couple of his starters, Dom Telford, Jacob Butterfield. They did not get involved at all. They were on the bench. They didn't play a minute. I have to check to see if they were starters. I assume they were on Wednesday night. But he was bigging this up, saying, "Oh, look, I've even been able to rest some quality players for a big game in the league." And they were 3-0 down at half time. And imagine getting thumped away at York City. Who does that in the conference? Surely not.
Good job, well done to them. Hey, look, they're not doing great in the league. It's funny because one of my mates saw them at Woking, and Woking turned over 5-0. So they are very much hit and miss. But it's what we say, isn't it? They've got good players, but they're not as consistent as players higher up the pyramid, and that's why they are there. But one-off games, you can get turned over, and that's what we got done again.
I'm just going to look into this because you reminded me that actually before the game at Plough Lane on Saturday, Gateshead had conceded in the league on average more than 2 goals a game. And then they conceded 4. Butterfield and Telford did start, by the way, on a Wednesday night. Then they conceded 4 away at York City, which means that Gateshead now sits 17th in the conference. And in 17 games, they have conceded 38 goals. So still very much above 2 goals a game. We could barely manage a shot.
I was going to say, how many shots do we get on target? And that's the worry, isn't it? That is the worry, that we haven't been able to work the opportunities. And it's, going into our league form, and obviously the Gateshead game are showing that we're huffing and puffing. Well, I don't know if we're huffing and puffing, if I'm being honest with you. But hey, look, we fight another day, and it's not a crisis just yet. I don't even know. To be fair, if we lost the next 2 or 3 games, could we even say it's a crisis then? Because ultimately, we're overperforming.
A crisis would be having your club stolen and moved 70 miles away. It would be having your pitch explode. It would be not being able to afford building a stadium. Those sorts of things that don't ever happen except to certain clubs. We are Harchester United. I don't know what else could possibly happen. Like one of the players is going to have an affair with the CEO. One of the players is going to get shot at Wembley.
It was ahead of its time, wasn't it, really? It worked out a lot of scenarios that were going to happen at some point.
Yeah, it's funny that. It's like art imitates real life or real life imitates art. Which way round does it go? What is quite funny is that had this never is the case, by the way, and I hate it when people say this, but let's just go with it for now. Had we beaten Gateshead in the second round, we'd have got another home draw against Warsaw and a repeat of the European League Two playoff final from last season. So I'm sure if that had happened, Warsaw would have wanted to get some revenge for their Polish countrymen. It's not to happen, but they go away to Gateshead, which, Stu, is going to be on Sunday, the 7th of December at 3:30 because it can be live on TNT
Was it really?
Sports.
When people say like this is who would have drawn, it wouldn't have been because we wouldn't have been that number.
Oh,
Because
no, we would have been saying number,
yeah.
but
So
there's too many other. Yeah.
thing is, once we're knocked out, the FA Cup's dead to me. I don't really care about it anymore, for being truthful. Actually, that's a lie. I did watch the Sunday games, and there was no upsets at all.
Because we were the upset. We were the biggest upset in the round.
But South Shields got beat by, I think Shrewsbury won, Port Vale. So all the possible upsets that there could have been never materialised. So I guess TV companies are probably a little bit disappointed on that. But
well, Brackley did beat Notts County. That was an upset. But what is going on with Notts County, right? You look at their team, there's something wrong at that football club, right? That team should be bossing teams and smashing teams, and they can't. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I didn't really look at that as a major upset. And the reason I say that is because Brackley have been, they're in the conference this year, but they're full time. They've done really well in the Conference South. Didn't look at it as a massive upset. Obviously Kelly Roos now playing with Notts County, but I do look there sometimes and think, how long is Yatta going to stay, and Joey Jones, and it's like, in a way, it's like they had their star players who were probably on decent money, and then the rest are just average.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But there was a few. Obviously, Luton getting out of jail, that was quite funny. By the way, Savage, I just got his first name now.
Robbie
Savage. He does play out to the cameras. He knows full well, right, that the cameras are on him. He knows full well.
Yeah.
And he just plays up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's such a drama queen.
Attention seeker.
That's the word, isn't it? Like, if you get there like that. But it's not, obviously, look at Jones. Is it Jones?
Nathan Jones.
Nathan Jones, when he decided to do that over-the-top celebration and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Drama. But, yeah, Luton obviously got away with it. Doesn't matter. FA Cup's done. Done for another season.
I just think back to last season, that Nathan Jones moment where he spied that camera and he thought that would be used to me. But yeah, elsewhere in the FA Cup, the second round, honestly, we need to get these TV companies to just fuck off, because this is ridiculous. At 7:30, like we were last season, 7:30 on the Saturday night, right?
Yeah.
What have they chosen? Which possible cup upset, big FA Cup tie, going to really get the juices flowing? Really massive game for the neutral, the most exciting cup tie you could ever imagine in the second round. What have they chosen to put on TV?
Well, to be fair, I don't really know what the draw was. I didn't look at it, but I do remember when Sky put, was it Oldham versus Barrow on a Saturday night, and just thinking, you basically that's quality. So is it Oldham against somebody?
No, do you know what? It is Chesterfield versus Doncaster.
Oh, that's a classic.
Fucking hell.
There must be better ties than that, surely. Like, you've got Chelmsford who've got through, haven't they?
Chelmsford are not on TV. Chelmsford Western Supermare is not on TV.
And we've said this for ages, haven't we? The pot of money, right? Does it need to go to the teams that are higher up the pyramid? I'm not saying that Chesterfield and Doncaster are bankrolled and rolling in it, but ultimately, this is the argument of the Premier League. When the Premier League teams come in, all of a sudden you get Man United versus Brighton, when really that money's more important to clubs that have done really well. So Western Supermare, Chelmsford should have been a definite.
Yep.
It obviously does mean one of those can potentially get into the third round, which is really good, isn't it?
Not potentially, Stu. One of those will definitely be in the third round.
Well, yeah, I'm sure I'm sure none of them have played any players that should have been playing
Well, yes, this is true.
and stuff like that. But one thing I did notice, by the way, is the standard of. I don't know if you've seen the goal roundup, but the standard of some of the grounds now are just. So
Yeah.
Western Supermare ground looked really good. South Shields, there was some, some of the stadia now is really.
But
Um,
do you know
yeah,
what? Western Supermare was always a strange one because when we played there in the Conference South, I want to say, yeah, that big terrace behind the goal was there. They had that huge
yeah.
terrace behind the goal. We were just like, wow, okay.
Well,
Uh,
Slough was another one which I think I'm
yeah,
not sure if they've moved
it
or
must be. I think that's a new build. Yeah.
yeah, but there's loads. There's loads, and I read in somewhere at Farnham Town have had permission to build a stand.
No,
I think where the raised
no, don't do
grass
it to us.
verges,
That should be
and
a
they've got and they've
site
got
of
and they've got full
it's
time, by the way.
Farnham Town.
Oh, can I just say, by the way, this is something that George Jones said to me on Saturday that I can't think what team it is now, but it's a team has been postponed. A game has been postponed in the Ryman Premier due to international call-ups. Apparently, he told me he did. Oh, I can't remember it. He told me because he knew it would make you laugh. But apparently, one of the teams has got four players from the same country, and they've actually called the game off down due to it in the Ryman Prem.
Do you know what? I'm trying to think which country would be low enough in the international rankings to have players at a Ryman League team. And the only answer I can think of, Stu, is Scotland.
I know. It just it made me chuckle. Like that is hilarious, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like when you've got and look good. Hey, the world's a big place, isn't it? So there's a lot of teams that can play, and obviously, with the World Cup, FIFA want every club possible to be there. Um, God, I don't know when it's going to start. It might start soon, to be fair. The amount of games that are going to be played in the World Cup. But yeah, no, I can't think who it is now. I put it on our Twitter feed, but yeah, George couldn't wait to tell me. I can't remember who it is now.
We'll have to look it up. Whilst you've been talking about that, I've just been scatting my eyes just to see if there were any more deserving teams to be televised. I hadn't realised on the Friday night they've moved for TV Salford versus Leighton Orient.
Yeah.
Really? What about like the BBC have gone for Boreham Wood versus Newport, and then in this 5:30 on Sunday, Blackpool versus Carlisle.
See, I kind of Salford. No, a lower league team being at home, Bournemouth, yes, because
Yes, I get that. Of
even though
all of
Newport,
them, yes.
yeah, but Blackpool, there'll be more
Yeah, I
people.
know.
There'll be more people on the beach than there will be in that stadium.
Do you know what? I think they've gone for it because Carlisle had that amazing comeback away at Reading, but nobody wants to watch Blackpool versus Carlisle.
No, you look at the romance of the cup is the minnows.
Yeah.
You know, they should be on. They should be on regardless. Like you had Hemel Hempstead, I think, got into the didn't they play against 10 men for most of the game against Wigan. You just want it really disappoints me, we talk about money and getting down to grassroots, and the TV companies don't even entertain that. We know when Man United get drawn in the third round against anybody, they will be on TV. It's just it is what it is.
Do you know the Hemel Hempstead away at Wigan got a draw and the game went to penalties? But that is just the perfect example of why we should have FA Cup replays still. And I'm going to go back many, many years to when Fulham played away at Ashford Town in the first round. It was a 2-2 draw. It went to a replay, and it's one of the best games I've ever been to in my life. It finished 5-3 to Fulham. Ashford scored an equaliser in the last minute of normal time, so they took it to extra time. Midweek, under the lights, Craven Cottage, terraces, proper old school grounds, kind of like what you were saying there about Farnham. My heart breaks that these traditional national heritage sites are being knocked down for, in inverted commas, progress. And yeah, it just makes me sad. I know I'm getting nostalgic again, everyone, and everyone's going, for fuck's sake, he's off again about how football used to be better. But football used to be better, and I miss those old days. Proper
Yeah,
stadiums, FA Cup replays, midweek, under the floodlights.
no, you're right with replays.
Marvellous.
You're right with the replays. Um, I used to like it because it obviously was a turnaround of, literally like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And it was just a buzz of like, you just, so if you'd done well to get a draw, you had them again in 4 days. And it felt, like when the replays are like 10 a week away, the close proximity of the games are what really makes it, isn't it, on that side of it? But hey, look, the FA Cup. Do you know what is interesting? On one of the Twitter feeds, I think you might have seen it. One of our Gillingham fans, Gills in the Blood, did a question: what 3 things would you like to see taken out of the game? And one of them did say about the FA Cup replays. Said just take it out, bring the replays back.
Yeah.
I put on there, keepers going down injured to deliberately waste time. Players who get tackled and then hold their head. And one of my biggest bugbears is home fans clapping when the away fans' attendance is announced. Sodom. Who cares how many of them turned up? I don't really care. I'm not going to thank. I don't understand it. Like, you can abuse these people. They can be like singing franchise songs against us. As soon as we announce how many people turn up, we all fucking get up and applaud. What? It just so annoys me. Like, I don't want to applaud you. Go home. I don't want you to enjoy your visit either. Sorry.
We do sometimes forget that football fans that travel to football matches are doing it because they have chosen to do it and because they want to do it. They're not doing it under duress to rescue the Dane from the railroad tracks.
It's just too nice, isn't it? It's one of the biggest worries I had when we reformed, right? Was that people liked us. So, I went in the Premier League days when no one really wanted you to turn up. No one really cared about you. The papers hated you because you played long football and maybe done long throws. God forbid that's never going to come back in, is it?
Yeah.
I don't like being nice. Just football is about not really wanting the team that's visiting your place to get anything. You want them to come in, not enjoy it, get cold, I don't know, get hungry, get rubbish burgers. I think we do that anyway, and just send them off. I don't want them coming back.
Do you know, Stu, it's quite an easy one for me. If you were to ask me 3 things that I would like to ban from football, I would go clearly, obviously, VAR would be one because it's going to make its way to our level
It's
one
funny
day.
though.
It's inevitable.
VAR is funny.
It is when it's when it's pissing off big teams, but not when I have to put up with it. If we ever have to have it, I'll be I would not be happy. But VR, easy one. Next one, you know what I'm going to say. Teams not wearing their first choice colours away from home when they don't need to. Gateshead, I have given them grace by not putting them on the list with a couple of, long way to travel with a quick turnaround for other games and what have you in the week. But I was not impressed. And thirdly, probably Watford. And I think that's fair, to be honest with you. Do you know what? If probably another football club before we got to Watford. Probably. I'd also get rid of advertising boards that are digital, especially after what I saw on the weekend at Villa Park when the women's team were playing at home. So the women's team, Villa, were playing at home to Everton in the Women's Super League.
Yeah.
2,300 was the crowd inside Villa Park for it.
Okay.
The advertising hoardings were taller than the players. Like, I was like, that's ridiculous.
It's when they have the double. It's when the illusion, isn't it?
Well, that's what I thought because I saw what was I was around Man City. Yeah, I've seen it at Man City when I've seen them on TV. But Villas are just one. I was like, that's honestly ridiculous. Yeah, so I would ban them.
I do laugh with the Man City ones because you obviously get stewards that are sitting in between them, and you just see little red dots in between them. But obviously, I do look at it and I do think, Joe, what some smart addicts come up with that idea. It's quite fun. It's quite clever in a way, really. Just as much as I don't know if you've ever heard this, but like if a game's going out to China or something like that, when they can actually change the advertising boards through some sort of technology, which is great. Like, it just makes me chuckle what you can do with things nowadays. But yeah,
imagine if we did that. Imagine what we could do.
The VR is great because it just tells you what it's all about in terms of. I even saw some Liverpool fan moaning they never get decisions for VAR, which made me crack up. I'm just like, I'm sure you get good decisions with that. But there's always, whenever there's a goal, and we said this when VAR first come in, that you won't celebrate. But they now do double celebrations. I think it's quite funny. They celebrate, stop, 4 or 5 minutes. Let's make sure that we look back as far as possible to see how can we disallow the goal. And then they cheer again when they get the announcement. And the funny thing is, nobody in the stadium actually has. Well, do you know what? Right, no one in the stadium has an idea what's going on, but I guarantee most of them are watching on their phones.
Yeah, probably.
Because as soon as what makes you laugh, right, is that we've got commentators who know more about what's going on in the football match than the spectators, because they get privy to hear the VAR conversations, so they know whenever it's going to be going to a TV. But it's funny because as soon as they announce it, then everyone in the stadium start cheering about sort of 10 seconds later because they've then heard it on TV.
Yeah.
It just, as a fan, if I was paying 60, 70 quid to not have a clue what is going on, well, I was voting my feet, but people don't.
No, you don't want to be paying money and not have a clue what's going on. You want to be getting paid thousands of pounds a week to not know what's going on. Kind of like what Liam Trotter did when he was with us.
Can you imagine as a referee, right? And they go, Mr. Trotter, you need to go to the screen. Can you try and run and get there quicker?
I would say
injury time would be basically him because he couldn't move quick enough to get over to the board.
He would have zero chance, is what I would say with that one. If VAR, by the way, had existed in years, like you say with the double celebrations, I'm thinking back to goals like Neil Shipley away at West Brom or John Hartson at home to Aston Villa. And imagine if those goals had to have gone through a VAR check afterwards. I wouldn't have celebrated the second time because I would have still been exhausted from celebrating the first time. I remember after Hartson equalised against Villa, I think I had to sit down for 20 minutes after that because I was so knackered. I am told, because I don't really have a recollection, I remember that moment ultimately meant nothing. At the time, I remember Hartson's header hitting the back of the net. And I don't remember anything for a long time after that, but I am told that I think my soul left my body at that point. I don't know what I ended up doing.
It's a good point. This is what I just feel for fans. Well, actually, I'm getting a little bit. I think I'm getting grumpy and old. I don't really feel sorry for the Premiership fans because they've just allowed it to happen.
No, fuck them.
That's what's. But can you imagine? Like you say, you'd be exhausted, but you wouldn't because you've got 5 minutes to recover.
Yeah, true.
Like nothing's done quick, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like they have so many people. They have more officials at Stockley Park than they do at the game. It's just, yeah, it will come in. It will come into the Championship, and then it will. But by the way, the Championship's really interesting this year. Have you seen the bottom of the table? Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday are bottom of the table because of the point deduction. Sheffield United, then Norwich.
Yeah, I know, big clubs.
Mad, isn't it? Like,
quote unquote, big clubs.
and then, well, I did say again, I'm going off track here because we don't really talk about defeats, do we? But Simon Jordan talking about on Talksport today, talking about the Sheffield Wednesday situation, was actually saying that he felt Sheffield Wednesday is a bigger club than Sheffield United. I was thinking,
I'm not sure. It depends on your perspective, though, because when I was younger, when I was first getting into football, Sheffield Wednesday Cup finals regularly in the early 90s. I think they got to about 3 or 4 in the 90s. Sheffield United were a struggling foot of the table Premier League team. So to me, Sheffield Wednesday were the better and therefore the bigger club. But I'm not sure. As I've got older, I'm not really sure. Are they not perhaps really quite equivalent, really?
well, it was interesting how he was saying it. So he was saying because of Sheffield Wednesday. So we may think Sheffield Wednesday were a bigger club because the semi-finals used to be played at Hillsborough quite a lot.
Oh, yeah, true.
So you class them as well. That there must be a big club because the FA have selected Hillsborough as a semi-final ground. That might be it. But Simon Jordan's actually saying a really interesting thing is that their digital imprint is actually really small. So they don't have.
Stu, you're saying words that I have no idea what that means.
So their digital presence in terms of followers, they don't. So apparently Sheffield United have over 1 million digital imprints or something like that. Sheffield Wednesday don't even get close to it. So we're saying that as a club, they're a big club, but they don't have as big a digital presence nowadays, which I think is quite a big thing. But yeah, just when Simon Jordan said that, I was like, "Are you sure that Sheffield Wednesday?" I don't look at Sheffield Wednesday being a big club anymore. They've got a big ground and needs a hell of a lot of work to it. It's probably condemned a lot of the time. But yeah.
And when we played the pair of them back in the 90s and the very early 2000s, neither of them were big travellers in terms of supporters, really, to be honest. They weren't.
No.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, Sheffield United, you have to think, Sheffield Wednesday haven't been in the Premier League for 25 years now, whereas Sheffield United have been a few times in and out. So maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, them teams being in the well, Sheffield Wednesday we understand. Sheffield United
No.
don't get like, and Norwich, a lot of I think Norwich have a lot of money's come out of that, which just shows you, doesn't it? Money. It's not about structure and stuff like that. It's about how much money you can afford to lose to get your team anywhere near the top half of the championship.
Norwich is funny because I was talking earlier today with somebody about abusing your own players, and obviously people are going to start saying to me, Liam Trotter, I would never abuse Liam Trotter at a game, whatever. We know this is all humorous and in jest. However, if there was, how about this one? I agree, you shouldn't really, especially at a game, abuse your own players. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. However, if that player is actually on loan at the team you are playing against at the team, then I think that's probably fair. And as we all know, 2001, David Nielsen went to play for Norwich and scored against him. And in that moment, Stu, if I could have thrown something at him, I probably would have done. Do you know what? I'd have probably thrown cabbages, hot bovril, and gravel.
And you'd probably missed. But of course, we were in, at that time, we had such great leadership off the pitch that they just didn't realise that could happen. It's like an American maybe coming into a sport and going, "What? You don't have draws? What are you doing?" Do you know what I mean? Absolutely no idea about football. And, gone are these days where players celebrate when they score against their former club. We had a player who celebrated a club that was his parent club.
Ridiculous situation. Do you know what, though? The great thing about that day at Carrow Road was at the end of the game, it would snowed. And as we were leaving, we were throwing snowballs into the home end.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, they weren't happy about that.
Can you imagine that was Millwall? It would have been like, these are rocks in here, mate.
Well, who knows what Millwall fans might have put in the snowballs, but we were just throwing nice, fluffy snowballs. Anyway, right. We should move on very, very quickly, I guess, because we are running late.
But sounding great.
Very, very quick question, just to round off, actually, all the chat about FA Cup and weekend and what have you. Did you have a man of the match for the Gateshead game? Aaron Sassu got the Sponsors Award. I would possibly have given it to somebody else, but that's not to take away from Sassu, who probably was one of our better players on the day.
Hey, look, no one really stood out, but as I've said before, the most consistent player of the season has been Steve Seddon.
And yeah, that's my show. Yeah.
And he didn't do any, and that's the thing, his levels, isn't it? I think consistently he is a 7, 8 out of 10. So yeah, but there was no one that really stood out, unfortunately.
No, the only person, again, and I'm sorry, I've become a bit of a cliche with this one, but because there was quite a few contenders for worst player of the week this week, I think the player that should be unhappiest, if not worst player, who should be the unhappiest player this week? 9 subs, ludicrous 9 subs in the FA Cup. Brodie Hughes is not amongst them. What have we done?
He's got into hiding.
Fair enough. I don't blame him. He plays for Chelsea. I'd be embarrassed by that.
He must be ecstatic that Osman Foyo is going to be back soon, because that's the one. That's another player that's going to be ahead of him. Yeah. Hey, look. Do you know what? I think it was a sub that gave us depth at the time, and hey, look, we might need him at some point, but yeah, you can't get on the bench with 9 players. It does, mate. It does. Did Gateshead actually have enough players to get 9 on the bench? Because do you remember we've had teams that haven't had enough players to actually put 9 on the
I'm not sure if Dagenham and Redbridge were one of those teams, and that's ridiculous because they've got 2 teams to choose from. But yeah, Gateshead did have 9. They did. Yeah.
Well played to them. Anyway, well done, Gateshead. Hope you do well. But yeah, FA Cup's done for another season.
One of their centre halves, number 34, Melbourne, Australian guy. I'm pretty sure that when we had a corner in the first half, they left 2 players up, which is a great tactic. And I think he was one of them. And I need to watch the game back. I'm pretty sure they left one of their centre halves up at a corner.
I noticed you. I noticed you said this. I'll be truthful. I didn't pay much attention. I just felt sad. He was just a bit like an anticlimax. I didn't really feel up for the game. I was there, but I wasn't ecstatic. And like I say, that transferred onto the pitch, didn't it? So,
sorry, I was not quick enough there, but I was there, but I was not that ecstatic. Title of your sex tape.
But yeah, it's very difficult to moan that the players went up for it when I didn't feel up for it myself. I didn't
feel up for it myself. Title of your sex tape.
But I wasn't the one that was running around for 90 minutes. So
This is true. Do you know what though? At least it wasn't cold. This November is ridiculously warm for November. What's going on? Get the cold weather in. Anyway, Richard Osman Foyo's House of Games.
uh-huh.
Bit of a different one this week, Stu, because I've had no time to prepare anything really, and I just saw something online the other day which got me thinking. So I'm going to do a variation on a Richard Osman game. There's no I in Osman, but all this involves is basically I'm going to give you a category, and I would like you to list as many answers as you can in response to it. So if I was to ask you how many teams you could list that were in the old Nationwide League Division 1 in our final season as Wimbledon FC, of the other 23 clubs, how many do you think you could list?
Handful.
That's good, because I was worried you were going to be vague about this. What's the actual number?
I'll go for 5.
5? Okay.
I can't. Well, I can name every team in the night. I can name every 91 clubs, but it would be all day.
Yeah, you have
probably,
to.
Actually, I'm probably going to do that.
You have to be. Yeah, so you're right. You have to do this. Has to be a continuous list. So as soon as you get one that is wrong, then we have to stop it there. So let's see how far we get. So go on, start listing them.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yep.
Gillingham.
Yep.
Birmingham.
Yep.
Norwich.
Yep.
Crewe.
Yep.
Oh, that was a humdinger. Now I'm buggered. Millwall.
Yep.
Sheffield United.
Yes.
Portsmouth.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing better what I thought now.
You are. You got 8.
Hull.
Well, we got to 8. You did pretty well to get to 8, to be fair.
Yeah, I've done better than what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. The other ones, I'll read this in a long list from top to bottom of the table, but there are some teams in there which you go, wow, how times have changed. So Man City, West Brom, Wolves, Burnley, Preston, Palace, Coventry, Watford, Bradford, Notts Forest, Warsaw,
Okay, yeah.
Grimsby, Rotherham United, my one and only trip to Millmore. Great experience that was. Barnsley and Stockport.
I was trying to think of the games that we won. So I remember us doing well at Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. But yeah, I remember, certain games. Crewe, for some reason, I just remember because I was at Jason Harley, wasn't it? I put.
Yeah, John Harley.
Jason Harley. John Harley. Mr. Harley. Yeah, I'm quite pleased I got more than what I thought. Happy
There
day.
you go. All right. How about if I was to ask you the same question, but for every of the other 23 clubs we played against in our first season in the Combined Counties League?
Oh, no. Oh, dear. This is quite a tricky one because it should be easy, but I'm going to go for 8.
Okay, go on then.
Shit. Right. Okay. So Wallingford.
Yeah.
Withdean.
Yeah.
Cove.
Very good.
Westfield.
Yeah.
Cheshunt and Hook.
Mm-hmm.
Cheshunt United.
Very good.
Oh, shit. Who did we play the first game when we lost? I can't remember that. What was that? I should know it off the top of my head. Hawley.
No.
Damn.
They were in the second season, not the first one.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, Ash
yeah.
United. How did I forget Ash United?
Ash United.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Rains Park Vale, Hartley Wintney, Farnham Town. Chipstead was the one you were trying to remember. Yeah.
Mighty Chipstead.
Chipstead, Southall, Reading Town. I'm just going through. These won't be an exhaustive list, but these are the ones I'm remembering off the top of my head. You said Westfield, didn't you? Walton Casuals, of course. Yes.
Walton and Hersham, or was that?
No, they were further up. Yeah, further up. So North Greenford United, Bedfont, Frimley Green, Godalming and Guildford, Merstham.
Cheese rolls.
And the Norse team, Viking Greenford, of course.
Yes, I actually wonder how many of those teams are actually still in existence.
Yeah, I mean, the CCL now, if you look at it, is unrecognisable.
Two in Mitcham, it?
Well, there you go. That's it.
How crazy is that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Corinthian Casuals might be now as well. Anyway, there you go. Cool. Right. That was a long time ago now, though. We've moved on, and now we're going away to Peterborough United in the third tier on Saturday, who have just replaced their manager. Darren Ferguson was sacked. Luke Williams has come in. He won his first game last week in the FA Cup at home to Cardiff City, which would have been great for the Cardiff fans because Luke Williams, I believe, used to manage Swansea City. Bizarrely, despite the fact they are bottom of the league, Stu, they've won 3 of their last 6 in the league. I mean, it's their only 3 wins in the division, but they have been in their last 6 games. And they have lost their last 2 at home, though. Alex Bass is in goal for them this season. They also have up front Tom O'Connor, who used to present Crosswits on ITV. So he's done very well to rejuvenate his career almost from bone on the grave. Right, predictions, Stu, because I think new manager won last week. They won't win 2 in a row. I think we're going to have a reaction. So I think this game has got draw written all over it.
Yeah, I don't see us winning. If I'm being honest with you, I see a draw or close defeat. That's my worry. Just because of performance levels, they got a new manager bounce. They have a good team. There's no doubt. You look at their team; it's a decent team. But then we said the same about Plymouth. They shouldn't be down there, but they are because they're not very good. But yeah, I would say a draw at best.
I will quite happily take a 0-0.
I don't think I want to be that boring. Never want to go to a game and go, what do you reckon, 0-0? Like, why have you travelled? Well, I've got the
that's because I'm not travelling, Stu. I've done London Road, I've done Peterborough in the past. I saw us play probably our best ever game at this level, our best ever performance at this level once when we beat them 1-0 in 2016 in the watermelon kit. Just unreal display that day. Played them off the park that day.
Yeah, Peterborough was one of my first away games I went to. I remember going to watch them when the old used to be 2 legs. And we had them away. I can't remember, it might have been 91, something like that. And we got free tickets. John Fasher come out with like 200 free tickets.
Nice.
The stewards were absolutely, it wasn't even 200 of us there. The steward wasn't really happy that he basically was getting us all in free. I think what had happened was all the players had got their free tickets and just gave them to Fash. And he came out and gave us free tickets. I can't remember the score. But they did have terracing back in those days, I believe.
Yeah, the home end is terrace still.
I think their way end might have been terrace from memory. But yeah, I just remember it was a very cold, wet, dark evening. But yeah, it's probably one of my first away games.
There you go.
There you go.
It's likely going to be somebody's first away game on Saturday, perhaps, because Peterborough, decent away day, in fact, very enjoyable away day, really easy to get to, nice city centre, nice little walk to the stadium, proper old school ground. It is a good away day. So everyone, we believe over 1,000 are trekking up there.
Stuff.
So
great stuff.
Yeah, excellent support. I am going, Stu, bizarrely, to Southampton.
Really?
I am. Yes.
Who they got?
Sheffield Wednesday.
2 struggling teams at the moment.
Yes. So I've got a ticket to there, so I'm going to do that. Anyway,
I've never been to St Mary's.
I'll tell you what it's like.
I didn't realise how old it is.
Yeah, it's about 20 years old.
I was surprised by it because when I was watching my old match of the day, final day things on YouTube, and they went to St Mary's in like 2003 or 4. I was like, whoa, okay. I didn't realise. It's mad how these new grounds are not actually that new anymore.
No, this is true. Yeah, that makes me feel old, Stu, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah.
But then the first episode of Iron Man and Partridge was apparently 28 years ago now, so ouch. Elsewhere in League One, I think the Hatters are going to have a good day at Stockport because it's Stockport versus Luton. So, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked. That's so bad, isn't it? Although, obviously, there's a great game as we're recording this. Reading Stevenage live on Sky Sports. What more can you get in live? I currently losing 1-0 at the moment, Stevenage.
Yeah, I just looked it up, actually. Charlie Savage, of all people, has got the goal.
Wow. Does he have dodgy hair and play up to the cameras all the time, do you reckon?
Yes, he does. He does. We know this, yes.
I'm having a look. It's not Bradford Burton, potentially. Burton are decent form. I think 1-6-0 in the cup. Huddersfield, Plymouth. You're very right. Stockport, Luton is probably the pick of the games, but yeah.
Only Blackpool, Cardiff, just because I think that was a Championship playoff final. Not too long ago, but probably longer ago than actually we remember. But yeah, anyway, there we go. I think that's it.
Let's just hope we get a result.
Very much so.
It's mad. Before Burton, we thought we can go top of the league, and now we're hoping for a 0-0 draw.
I will take a 0-0 draw. Burton Albion beat St Albans, you're right, 6-0 in the FA Cup on the weekend. Pirelli Stadium capacity about 7,000. St Albans have said there were 10,000 people there, and they are chiming to get a fairer share of the gate receipts.
Show the receipts.
Yeah. A blast from the past there for older listeners. For the more mature listener to the 9 Years podcast. Anyway, right. Thanks, Stu. I think that's us for this week because time is running and we need to get to front of our TV screens for the final of The Traitors.
Exactly. Can't wait.
Yes. Yes, unless you're Canadian and you've already know what's happened. But
yeah, what was all that about? Like, scandalous. Can't release that early, can you?
So scandalous.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yes. Sorry, I say that because Mystique, and there's a great documentary now on the BBC if you want to watch it, Stu, about girl bands. You would love it. You need to check this out on iPlayer. Yes. You have Mystique and Bewitched and All Saints and all your favourites. So I recommend that on the iPlayer.
I think I'm getting really old at the moment, right? Because I think I am old. But I've been watching like a lot of Top of the Pops that like shows that have been on YouTube, and I just think, wow. Do you know what I mean? My wife's pointing at me as if like I've done something wrong. Oh, I'm a loser. Okay, no, she wasn't. She was just doing. This is how old my wife is. She was just putting her hands up with the L. Yeah, loser. But yeah, for the girl bands, yeah, in my day, but now they're all as old as I am. What you should do, right, is do girl bands now and girl bands before and girl bands now because they all look rough, don't they?
And on that note, before I collapse into laughter, I think we should probably round it off there and say, Stu, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Updates from the game with Peterborough will be on Nazi Twitter at 9Wireless Podcast. But aside from that, Alexa Bliss, she never looks rough, to be fair. Bag first, milk last, 2 + 2 = 4. And we shall speak to you again next week.